Today, investment banks Credit Suisse and Nomura still feeling the pain after the $20 billion meltdown of one massive client. We lay out everything we know about the Archegos capital management saga that's gripping Wall Street's attention. Plus, voting is over and ballot counting is underway in the high-stakes Amazon unionization battle in Alabama. And finally, after 6 days at a standstill, the Suez Canal is back open for business after the 220,000-ton Ever Given ship was finally freed. I'm Pippa Stevens, and this is CNBC After Hours. Today is the first loss for the Dow in the past 4 days. The index slipped about 100 points from yesterday's record close, with the Nasdaq and S&P 500 also finishing lower. And take a look at shares of Credit Suisse and Nomura, both banks in the red again as they grapple with losses in the wake of their relationship with Archegos Capital Management, a private family office that few had ever heard of before last week. It's the second straight day of declines for both investment banks, which found themselves on the wrong side of a massive margin call that sent shares of companies owned by Archegos like Viacom, CBS, and Discovery plummeting on Friday. So why are these bank shares falling? What exactly is a margin call, and how does one client have such an outsized effect on the market? Leslie Picker breaks down what one of her sources called a once-in-a-decade event.
It's hard to pinpoint an exact trigger for all of this, but a lot of people are looking at a news announcement by the SEC that they would take a harder look as it pertains to the accounting of certain Chinese companies that are listed in the US, as well as a new stock offering from Viacom CBS that got weaker than anticipated investor reception. That took down the shares of some of the biggest holdings of Archegos Capital Management. They were basically this massive whale in the market that had been bidding up stakes in those companies. They had been able to do that because they were taking on tremendous amounts of leverage to do so. What leverage means is if I want to buy one stock in a company, I can also ask a bank to lend me money to buy another stock or to buy two more stocks. That would create a leverage ratio of 2-to-1. What they were doing was far, far greater than that. They were doing leverage ratios as high as 20-to-1, reports have shown. And so with leverage that high, and it's a rarity to be even close to those levels, what happened was just a small decline in some of their holdings led to what's known as a margin call. What that means is they have to have a conversation with the banks. The banks will say, listen, your risk profile to us is far too great right now because of the amount of debt that you've taken out to purchase shares. And so therefore, we're asking you to put up more collateral to make up for that. If they don't have collateral to put up, then the banks take over their positions, take over their assets, and have to sell them into the marketplace. And so when you ask why we've seen such tremendous declines in names like Viacom, CBS, and Discovery and some others, well, it's because that they had to unwind that portfolio essentially and sell all of those stocks into the marketplace at a discount. The role that Credit Suisse played, that Nomura played, is that they were engaging in transactions with Archegos Capital Management. We're not quite sure at this point in time the extent of those transactions and why they're facing losses in the potential billions of dollars. But one thing that has become clear is that there are certain firms that have been able to manage this risk, have been able to manage their association with him better than others. For example, our sources are telling us that Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, they were two of the earlier firms that were able to sell the holdings that they seized after the margin call happened and Huang was unable to meet it. And so by being first, they were able to sell those assets before they saw significant decline.
Okay, let's get to our sound check. Here's a roundup of the day's biggest action and what the top newsmakers and business leaders had to say on CNBC's airwaves.
So I think what we're seeing here is really the economic surge is here. It's all over the March data, consumer confidence, as well as our Chase tracker of credit card and debit card spending for March, showing a strong uptick. The flash PMIs on Thursday should show strong uptick in business confidence. So we're just beginning the surge in the economic recovery.
I would say probably everybody, including public health professionals, are confused about what message to send. Schools open, schools closed. I think first things first, we have to look at the data and the trends. We are seeing in certain states, as you've covered before, states, New Jersey, New York, Michigan, we are seeing rises. It's reminiscent of the early part of the pandemic.
This is a significant piece in art history, and sometimes these things take some time for everyone to recognize and realize, but I'm okay with that. I had the opportunity to be part of this very important change or shift in how art has been perceived for centuries. This is a change in medium. That means that there's going to be hundreds and thousands of people from around the world who are going to adopt this medium.
I think what's really important is that the idea of space travel starts to become normalized. This is a very new thing that most people didn't think would happen in their lifetimes, and yet here it is happening today.
So Amazon has always been synonymous with Seattle, where the tech giant is headquartered. But today, the company is laser focused on Bessemer, Alabama, a small city 20 minutes outside of Birmingham. Nearly 6,000 workers at a Bessemer Amazon warehouse were eligible to vote on whether or not to unionize. The voting window ended and ballot counting is officially underway. The union vote has drawn national attention. President Biden voiced his support of unions, and Senator Bernie Sanders even traveled down to Alabama. For its part, Amazon has waged an aggressive PR campaign defending the working conditions at its warehouses. There's a lot at stake here. None of Amazon's warehouses in the U.S. are unionized. Bessemer would be the first, but it may not be the last. Deirdre Bosa explains.
This labor battle essentially focuses on Amazon's Bessemer, Alabama warehouse, where there's about 6,000 workers. The ballots closed yesterday, and there have been weeks, months of preparation. Today, the ballots will begin to be counted. This isn't going to be a quick or a smooth process. However, the vote itself is expected to last days, and then whatever the outcome, either side is expected to appeal. So this could really drag on for months longer. So at this warehouse, there's only 6,000 employees. To put that in perspective, Amazon has about 800,000 employees in the US. But this vote has a huge amount of significance for the company, for its efficiencies, for its operations, for its status, really, as the #1 e-commerce player in the country. The biggest question surrounding the vote is one of a domino effect. Other warehouse workers around the country are watching very closely. So are lawmakers in DC. Basically, this could change Amazon's policies for its warehouse workers in the future and could threaten that famous efficiency that has made Amazon such a powerhouse. Amazon has taken an extremely aggressive and confrontational PR approach to the union battle that is playing out right now. Last week, you had one of the most senior Amazon executives, Dave Clark, come out really strong against Senator Sanders just a few days and the day of leading up to his visit to that Alabama warehouse. And this is kind of an unusual strategy from Amazon. So this labor battle is about more than $15 minimum wage. Amazon already does that, and it does offer some generous benefits. Last year, it has been very different. Amid the pandemic, warehouse workers have been deemed essential workers, and they've had to work in much different conditions. So this is about more than a minimum wage. It's about working conditions that the media, that critics have characterized as really harsh. Last week, there was a lot of delivery drivers, warehouse workers talking about how they have to pee in bottles because working conditions are so demanding and so harsh. At the same time, Amazon is a tech company, and this is sort of rare to see workers at a tech company come out and unionize.
Okay, time for the numbers round. So let's kick it off with 29 million. PayPal is now allowing its U.S. customers to use cryptocurrency to check out at many of its online merchants around the world. And in the coming months, the company will make the service available to all 29 million of its global merchants. PayPal users who hold Bitcoin, Ether, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin in their digital wallets can convert those crypto assets into fiat, like dollars, to make purchases. The Checkout with Crypto service is PayPal's latest push into the space. Last fall, PayPal began allowing users to buy, hold, and sell cryptocurrencies. And since then, the price of Bitcoin has surged roughly 450%. Next, 3. The cargo ship Ever Given was freed yesterday from its wedged position in the Suez Canal, which brought the crucial passageway to a complete standstill. Though the Suez is now open, Egyptian officials say it will take about 3 days to clear the backlog of some 400-plus ships that are waiting to transit the canal. And even after that, experts say the consequences of the nearly week-long delay in global trade will be felt for months to come in the form of later arrivals of goods into port, meaning longer wait times for important cargo like semiconductor chips, which were already in short supply around the world. And finally, 71,000. Tesla double-charged some people for new cars, taking up to $71,000 out of customers' accounts without authorization or warning, CNBC has learned. Our reporting shows that these customers had a difficult time getting their money back from Tesla because the electric car maker gave few answers when the errors were brought to its attention. Tesla didn't immediately respond when CNBC reached out for a comment. Laura Kolodny is the reporter who broke the story. Read the whole thing on CNBC.com and on the CNBC app. That's it for After Hours. We'll be back here in our home office every Tuesday and Thursday, so be sure to catch us then.